Day 2. It had rained for most of the night, but we had awoken to only droplets falling from the trees overhead. I rubbed my eyes and unzipped the window that was positioned for the park's best campsite view. The ominous fog was thick, but it was moving and thinning. There was a bit of a brightness attempting to permeate the gray, but it was not thriving. I turned my focus toward the tent's door, and it was clear that I had made multiple muddy trips into the pouring rain to pee. I had made the mistake of filling my bladder with local brews during a rainy night. Although it was a refreshing way to end a long day, I knew it was a risky move for a weak bladder during a storm. There were only a few wet spots in the corner of our new tent on its maiden voyage, and they were clear. Hello. The rain inside the tent was easily cleaned up, but our sleeping bags were wet from humidity, and the outside of the tent and the fly were covered with various sized droplets of water. Each time the wind moved the branches above, more drops joined the force covering the tent. Packing up wet gear sucks, but it's part of tent camping, and we've developed a fairly good system that keeps everything as clean and as dry as possible. Folding up the wet tent revealed 2 critters taking shelter beneath it, a millipede and a salamander. Unfortunately, it appeared to be a Lithobates sylvaticus, not a prized, endangered, endemic Plethodon Shenandoah, which was on our radar. We were finally able to catch a glimpse of sunlight from behind the ridge line of the massive mountain that appeared to be just outside our front yard. It was just over 100 miles to our first stop of the day, and I-81 and Virginia 11 were familiar roads to our travels. Our last visit this way took us to Foamhenge and left us with some unfinished giraffe feeding business at the Virginia Safari Park. Our next stop, Natural Bridge State Park. This natural bridge has been a landmark on the East Coast for a very long time. This geologic masterpiece has a limestone base made of 500 million year old compressed organisms, and it was part of the underground cave system 200 million years ago. When the James River and Cedar Creek were formed and the cave collapsed, water receded, revealing only the thickest part of the cave ceiling, Natural Bridge. The Monacan Indians are the earliest known inhabitants of the area, and this was sacred land to them. I could feel that sentiment. This peaceful space provided a tranquility that is difficult to explain without experiencing it yourself. This crisp coolness provides a feeling of being in an underwater wonderland that was carved and then drained. Although the park's paraphernalia mentions the Monacan greeting, Mekor Mechin Kiho, meaning you are welcome to be here, I have my doubts. It's difficult to imagine the Native Americans muttering that phrase to the white man. This was one of those places where I feel crappy to be a white man. We weren't near the Trail of Tears yet, but reading about Thomas Jefferson buying the property in 1774, frontiersmen calling it the Gateway to the West, and searching the wall for the graffiti initials of George Washington, I was a little bit sad. There are 2 picnic areas at Natural Bridge, one located behind the visitor center and the other near the base of the bridge at Cascade Falls. Last night we made our leftover chicken into chicken salad and piled it generously into fresh pitas with some ripe Jersey tomatoes and crisp romaine lettuce. The hike from the visitor center to the magnificent Natural Bridge was a short, fairly steep decline. There's also a shuttle bus available for an easy, expedited experience, which I recommend for those with limitations. We gladly took the free ride back up to the air-conditioned visitor center, which is included but not encouraged with the $8 admission. Natural Bridge State Park was 5 stars, worth the stop, from the caves to the mountains, to the beaches to the history, and everything in between. Virginia really has it all.